Happy freaking 2025. Happy New Year, guys. We made it. We made it to New Year. Hope you guys had a great break. It was so long. I felt like this break was so long. I'm not mad about it at all. I loved it. I loved that the break was long. I remember in school, our teachers used to tell us you want Christmas to fall on a Wednesday because then you get like the most amount of days off. And like, even though I didn't take that many days actually off, it was still like, just like it's just more of a chill vibe, right before New Year's. So got to really, hopefully, got to maximize that. Right before New Year's, for New Year's, I either do it big or I don't do it at all. So I'm either in bed watching Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper get drunk on TV, which is I petition in 2025 for Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper getting drunk on live TV more often. That's my petition for 2025. So I either do that or I like go big and extravagant and crazy. And this year we did big, extravagant, crazy. Went to Vegas for New Year, which doesn't get more crazy than that. We went for 5 days, like so aggressive, such an aggressive amount of time. So we went for 5 days. We had the best friggin' time though. We went because back in May we went for EDC. So if you guys don't know this about me, I'm a big EDM fan, electronic dance music. I like DJs a lot. And yeah, sometimes people grow out of that in their 20s. I never have, and I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm not ashamed of it. I stand by it. I think more people should continue to live in the dance music land. It is a fabulous place to be, and I will never apologize for that. But so we went to EDC, which is a great festival in Vegas. We went in May, and we went in May. Our hotel room faced the Sphere, which is the coolest thing in the world. So I was just enthralled. I like literally could have not left my room that whole trip and just watched the Sphere and been very entertained. But so on the Sphere, what we saw, they were advertising the next show that was coming up, which was the first EDM DJ that was going to be there, Anima, who, to be honest with you, I didn't really know much about at the time. I like the type of house music. It's called contemporary. That's my favorite. It would be the equivalent of like pop music and normal music. So it's like, it's not like the vibey, like cool kids music. It's like the stuff you probably hear on the radio. It's just what I like. Just being honest about it. So, but Anima's not like that. He's got like insane visuals or whatever, but still like the first like EDM style performance that was going to be at the Sphere. They had the Deadheads there, and then they're going to have this, and then I think they're having like the Eagles. So it was just like the first opportunity for that like genre to get its little moment in the Sphere. So I remember like staring at the advertisement when we went in May, and I was like, it would be so cool if we went to this. And then I looked and I was like, it's on New Year's. And then at some point we were just like, let's just do it. Let's just go. And we went. And let me just say, the show is incredible. The Sphere is incredible. If you ever have an opportunity to go to Vegas and see the Sphere, like 10 out of 10 recommend. It is an insane, incredible experience, what they've done there. Like the visuals were stunning. Like it was just such a cool, amazing experience. But while we were there, my boyfriend and I, we also like, don't get me wrong, we like love to party and have a great time, but we also like had a lot of like really great conversations and really like planned our year. And what's so funny is I remember last year or maybe the year before, I'm a big fan of the Skinny Confidential podcast. It's a husband and wife team, and they do podcasts together. And I remember just thinking like, oh my God, it would be so, and one of the things that they do together every year is they plan their year out together and they figure out what they want to accomplish. And it's like they're pushing one boulder up a hill. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I want that so bad. I want that so bad with somebody. So I remember just thinking like, oh my God, it would be so nice to be able to like plan my year out with somebody. So we went to Vegas, and while yeah, we partied our asses off and we did all the things, we also like planned our years out together. And it was really nice to be able to do that, but also really nice to reflect that this was something that I wanted so badly like a couple years ago, and now it's sort of like coming to fruition. It's happening. And today's question was sort of with that in mind of like, how do you like get what you want? How do you like level up your life? It was a simple question, but a really good question. And I've had years that I have tried so hard and like had all of my lists and like made my vision board and did all the things, and literally nothing happened. And then I've had years where I just like have lived lifetimes in one year. And this past year was one of those years where I like lived lifetimes in one year. And I was really like thinking about the differences. So when somebody asked me this question about like, how do you level up your life? Like, how do you like get the things that you want to get? I was thinking about the differences between the years where I just felt so stagnant and so stuck, and the years where I actually like was able to make moves. And I wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I learned and some of what the differences are. Now, if you listen to the episode I did before this, it covers like some of like the tactical, like how to stuff, like how to kind of like create those things. What I'm going to go over with you today is sort of like the foundational things that maybe don't seem important, but they were the make or break things versus like if I was able to level up and get to what I wanted versus if I wasn't. And I really have practiced that this past year. My life at this time this year does not even remotely resemble what my life was at this time last year personally. And now that I know that, I have a strong feeling professionally it's going to look very different at this time next year. That is my goal. So I'm going to share with you guys the tools and strategies and tactics that I used, and you can use them too. And let's all have a great 2025 together. Okay, so I have three that I realized I used the most frequently when leveling up my life. The first one is sort of obvious. The second two are the secret sauce. So listen to this in its entirety and apply as much of it as you can. So, number one, it's an obvious one, but just be really, really clear on what it is that you actually want. The years that I did this well, or the times that I do this well, I do this without limitations. And you have to consciously stop yourself from coming up with reasons why you're not be able to get what you want to get, or why it's stupid, or why it doesn't matter. Like, just give yourself the space to figure out what you want with no restrictions, limitations, no nothing. So, like, for example, let's even say it's something simple like you're like, I would love to go to Italy this year. I would love to go to Italy this year, but then like it's going to be so expensive. Like, when would I even go anyway? Like, how am I going to get the pay time off from work? Like, my significant other might not want to go with me. Like, would I have to bring the kids? And then if I have to get childcare, and when would I even go? And like, blah, blah, blah. So before you even give yourself a chance to like actually put that into your mind, you've already come up with all of these limiting beliefs or reasons as to why it's not going to happen. So I would brain dump all of the things that you want in your life, and I would do it without limitations or restrictions. Just pretend like it's a guarantee, pretend like it's a 1000% going to happen to you. And I'm not saying you have to like go after every single one. I'm not saying that the limitations around it aren't real. I'm just saying like get clear on what you want without them first, and then you can sort of sort through and see what's realistic, what's not, what's plausible, what's not. But I think it's a good thing to do that without your limitations first, just to kind of see where your head is at. For me at this time last year, and I will tell you all of my goals. So all of my goals last year were personal ones. I had a lot going on in my personal life at this time last year. So, and I realized I was sort of spinning my wheels a little bit professionally. So I was very, very focused on my personal life this year. This year's the year for my professional life. So let's see what happens. It's gonna be a ride, but I'm excited about it. But I'll tell you what mine were for last year, so that way, just to give you like some ideas. So one of mine at this time last year, I was like in the middle of a divorce, so I wanted to just get through that, and I wanted to come out the other side, and I wanted to find somebody that I felt was a partner for me at this stage in my life. And I remember telling my therapist exactly what I wanted in a partner, and my therapist was funny. She was like, because therapists will never tell you like the answers, but she was like, so sweetie, she's like, do you have any friends who are single? And I was like, yes. And she's like, do they online date? And I was like, yeah, they do. And she's like, and please tell me, what has their experience been with that? And I was like, not great. And she's like, correct. She's like, yes. She's like, that. She's like, what you're describing is very specific. And she's like, I don't think that person exists out there in the world. She actually said that to me. And spoiler alert, she was wrong. Again, if I was thinking with limitations or listened to my therapist, I probably wouldn't have found it, right? But I did. So that's why I think the limitation thing is important. I knew I wanted to travel a lot. I haven't traveled as much as I'd like to. So I knew I wanted to travel a lot. And I knew I wanted to go to like a lot of like EDM shows and see a lot of DJs, because I feel like that just really makes me happy. And I just at that time wanted more happiness in my life. And I just wanted I wanted my personal life to feel stable. I wanted to feel stable. I wanted to feel safe, like all of those types of things. So that was sort of my like general like wish list at this time last year. But the without limitations part is super important. If I was thinking limitedly, I might be like, all right, but like my therapist is right. She's like, I'm never gonna find somebody, and like there's a million reasons why I could have spiraled last year, and instead I really kind of flipped the script, and I travel. I did all of the things that I really wanted to do, but having that clarity without the limitations was a really important first step. All right, so number 2 is key. So now once you have your little list here, I want you to ask yourself why you want the ones that you're going to go after, and make sure that your reason comes from a positive place, not a negative place. Your intention here, in my experience at least, is everything. I have wanted things for myself And every single time it comes from a negative place, I don't achieve it, or it's a lot harder to achieve. So here's what I mean by that. Let's just say you're like, let's go with the quintessential one that I deal with all the time, because obviously I'm in the weight loss nutrition space, right? So everybody wants to lose weight. Everyone wants to lose weight, or everybody wants to go to the gym. If I have somebody that comes in and they say to me, I want to lose 25 pounds because I hate the way that I look right now, I look disgusting, and I'm just so miserable with myself, that person is a lot less likely to achieve the goal, or it's going to be a lot harder for them, I should say, to achieve the goal than the person that comes in and is like, you know what? I want to lose 25 pounds because like I just want to like feel better about myself. And I know it like sounds sort of similar, but the vibe is very different. The energy is very different. So if you're like, I want to go to the gym because I have to go to the gym and I don't want to be like, and I'm lazy and I don't want to be lazy anymore, and I just need to freaking do it, and I just need to stop being lazy and get up off my ass and like go to the gym and blah blah blah, and you're like mean to yourself about it, you are a lot less likely to achieve those goals. So I'll give you some examples, even for me. So at one point in my life, I was like, I wanted to, make more money, right? Now, there have been many years where that has been my goal. It's like, I want to make more money, right? So now, when I wanted to make more money, because I was like, I want to have a bigger impact. I want to like help more people. I want to be able to, live on my own and like support myself and like do all those things. Those are the years that I had significant increases in like what I was able to do. Reflecting back, because obviously didn't feel like this in the moment, but the years that it came from an ego place, meaning like I was like, I have to make more money because I have to like buy the newest thing, and I have to like, and like again, and a lot of the stuff isn't conscious, but when you think about it, you can identify if you're doing this or not. But anytime that I came from like wanting to do something from a place of like it was to kind of like inflate my ego versus like from a real good intention reason, it was a lot harder for me to achieve. That was actually a huge difference in me being successful in a lot of areas of my life versus not. So if you do want to lose weight this year, let it be because you like want to be healthier. You want to like have a good relationship with food finally. You want to, not have to put so much energy into the scale. You want to like nourish your body the right way. You want to like learn to have a balance between the fun foods and the fuel foods like we do at Nutrishmish. You want to like learn how to have a synergy between those two and not just like restrict and eliminate. You could have it because you're like, I don't want to like rely on an injection my whole life to lose weight. You could do it because you're like, I don't want to keep torturing myself over diets. You know what I mean? I want to like actually like have a good relationship with food. There's so many like positive reasons why you could want to lose weight. And same thing with the gym. You could say, I want to go to the gym because I want to like feel good, and I want to just finally be that person that like can stick to a routine and like feels healthy and feels strong and like can like hang out with their kids and do all those things. I want to like prove to myself that I could do it. That is going to be a lot more powerful than if your reason or your intention is coming from like a self-deprecation place. You're like, I hate the way I look right now, I can't stand myself, I need to change it, blah blah blah. Same thing with money, same thing with travel. Whatever your goals are, make sure that the intention is coming from a positive place, not a negative place. I can't tell you how impactful that is. And number 3 is, now that you've done those things, now the trick is you need to quiet that inner critic in your head. Learning to be conscious of and manage and control your self-talk is huge. From just a scientific point of view, the brain wants to move towards things that make it feel good and away from things that make it feel bad. And I think for a lot of people, women in particular, men do it too, but I just hear it a lot more with women. We're very, very critical. And again, when you're constantly beating yourself up, when you're constantly berating yourself, and it's probably stuff that like you don't even consciously realize, but it makes things a lot harder to achieve, right? Goals are hard to achieve by themselves. Change is hard to do by itself. When you're up leveling your life, like it's not easy to do. Your brain wants to stay safe. Your brain's goal is status quo. So the second that you try to make changes, your brain's gonna be like, whoa, 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 I don't know if I want to do that. And then anytime that something is happening, your inner critic can step in and make it that much harder. So just being aware of what your self-talk is, like just pay attention to how you're talking yourself during the day. If I were to put a thought bubble over your head, would you like be embarrassed by how you were talking to yourself? Would you speak to somebody else that way? So for example, again, bring it back to nutrition and weight loss, just because that's an easier one. Let's say you have a rough week, or let's say you aren't giving yourself that iteration process, that time to iterate, like I talked about in the last episode, and you're being very critical. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I ate this. It's the first day of the new year and I already ate something crazy. Like, what's wrong with you? It's like, you don't even want this. Like, you might as well give up already. You're a fat pig and blah, blah. Like you just spiral, right? Or let's say you're on a roll at the gym, and let's say it's the first day that you miss. And you're like, see, this is what you always do. You always miss. This is what happens. Now you might as well not go. You threw in the towel. You failed. Rather than just like being like, all right, like, first of all, Great. You went to the gym more times than you did last week, which is awesome. Yes, you missed today and you want to go today. How come that happened? So if you can turn it from like constructive, from critical to constructive, now you actually again create that iteration space that I was talking about in my last episode, where you can actually see where things are going right and wrong. But when you're critical about it, and again, it's something that happens at a very subconscious level, it's just you're telling your brain over and over and over and over and over again, we don't want to focus on this goal. So it makes it so much harder to up level your life. So if I let my inner voice, run amok this year, and like, look, I teach people this, all day long. This is what I do. I teach people how to do this in terms of accomplishing their nutrition and their weight loss goals, right? So like, I'm super aware of it. So this year for me, if I let my inner critic run the show, what it would have sounded in my head 24/7, it would have been like, oh, cool, great, you're getting divorced. You're getting divorced. You're a great guy. You're going to be alone for the rest of your life. You're never going to find the guy that you want to find. Like you're being impossible. Your standards are way too high. You're never going to find what you want to find. Oh, you want to go away? You want to go on vacation? You can afford that. You're going to blow all your money. Like you're just going to take that much time off of work. Oh, you're going to go see like DJs, whatever. Like, what are you, 22 years old? Like you're just wasting your money. You're wasting your time. You're never going to get where you want to get, blah, 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 blah. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's real. That's what happens for a lot of people. Instead, and listen, I had to consciously do this, but instead I was like, look, it's gonna work. It's gonna work out. It always I just kind of I surrendered. I was like, you know what? We're gonna work out. We're gonna figure it out. You're not the first person to get divorced. You're not the first person to like want to go on vacation. You're not the first person to want to do all these things. Like, you just have to adopt a different internal. And then when things didn't go right, I was like, I had to consciously stop myself and be like, okay, why didn't this go right? What could I do differently for next time? And then you give yourself the space to adjust. But I had a giant level up year this year, and I attest a lot of it to, and listen, I'm not perfect with it, don't get me wrong, but just sort of like, one, being very clear on what I wanted, two, having reasons why that were positive reasons, not negative reasons, and number three, like really listening to my internal dialogue. And when my brain wanted to go down a spiral, kind of giving a little bit of pause there and being like, all right, it's like, what is real here and what's not real, and just redirecting my thoughts into something different, which I could do a whole episode or 2 or 5 on that, which maybe I will. But that's how you set the stage to create a level up situation. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Ask Mish. As always, make sure you're following me on Instagram at Mish of Nutrish Mish. I will link that there in my show notes. I am so excited for us all to have a kick-ass 2025. I hope you guys all have like all of your goals and dreams and aspirations, and you're like ready to go. If you want to share with me what they are, slide into my DMs. Let me know. Let me know what your questions are. How can I support you the best I possibly can this year? And I will see you guys next Thursday.